the clip was from another show, TWFS.
Right.
And basically it was done in 2016. And I guess he used to be a regular on their show a lot. Like he was on there a bunch, and he did a bunch of other episodes with them too. And I'm not going to excuse what he said, but basically he said that he wanted to rape Sasha Banks.
Yeah.
And the outpouring backlash, the attachment to speaking out, it's just, he's a dumbass for it. He's a dumbass to say it. And I understand why people didn't find it funny, and nor should they. It wasn't funny when he said it, but now he's suspended from AEW without pay? I believe that's what it is, yes. Right? Indefinitely, right. So, and he did offer an apology. I do see that, Phil, and he actually apologized directly to Sasha, and Sasha did respond in turn, and she accepted his apology for the most part and said that, we shouldn't even have this word in our lexicon. We shouldn't even bring it up and stuff like that. But, at the same time, to try and compare it to some of the other stories we just talked about previously, it's night and day. You know what I mean? Like, we should be worried about the people right now that are not convicted, that are not losing their job. You know what I mean? We should be worried about the people that are getting away with this. I don't even want to say getting away, but have flown under the radar. Like, was Sammy really at the top of this list? I think that there's a bunch of other people that should be on this list, like Chris, and obviously.
No, I see what you're saying. And again, my priority is going with the children, and then the women and the men, and in that order. Here's my problem with the Sammy thing and why I was so annoyed by it, is because Sammy works for a company that has been telling me for a year that they are morally better, that they are intrinsically different from everyone else, that their standards are higher, they're inclusive, they're progressive, right. And that anyone that isn't on board with that needs to not even watch their TV show. Well, they lied. Right. And it's looking like it's more than one guy making a dumb comment in 2016. It looks like a couple of guys in their roster are pieces of shit too. And they're not handling it properly. That's what's bothering me. They're sending guys to rehab for drugs instead of acknowledging that they may have sexually assaulted people. They're suspending a guy without pay and putting him in some type of anger management instead of acknowledging that, wow, this was a very stupid fucking thing to say in any environment.
Right.
Like, you would get fired from McDonald's for saying that.
Right.
Like, I'm sorry. Like,
you don't have to be a wrestler.
Pretend.
Right. Exactly.
I would get fired from my job for making that joke. You would get fired from any job making that joke at the job. Not that he made it on the job, but if that came up in a video at an office party for a company I didn't work for, and my company I worked for found out about it, I would lose my job.
Right.
And I wouldn't have a fucking leg to stand on.
Yeah, so corporate America wouldn't tolerate that. There's no fucking way. Right.
Right. But the thing is, I had Brandy telling me, I had Cody telling me, I got the Jacksons telling me. These are people that have shit on people like Cornette and shit on anything and tried to tell me that their morals are higher and their standards are higher.
Right.
And they're not. They're not. And that's the problem for me. You can't. If you're gonna fuck me, you better fuck me. Like, don't fucking just don't.
Well, that's the problem, John. Jesus.
No, but I mean, like, if we're gonna do this thing, we're gonna do this thing.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, let's not. If you're really gonna be this progressive, all-inclusive company that is really big on like gender non-specific things, all stuff, then you can't have guys talking about raping Sasha Banks on your roster in your primary spot.
Right. You
can't have Jimmy Havoc slapping people who ask him for an autograph and then sending dick pics to fucking underage girls. Right. You can't have Darby's name mentioned because you got these guys, and so you're not the moralistic company. You're not. So stop preaching to me.
Well, not even just that, but we've already proven that. I mean, just with David Starr, just with Joey Ryan, that the people that are coming out as the most virtuous aren't.
Right, but they're not getting called on the carpet for being disingenuous with their product. They're not.
Well,
they're not.
You know what? I'm not going to throw out the baby with the bathwater on this one. I think that genuinely most of the people in AEW probably didn't listen to Sammy when he was on TWFS. To be fair, I don't know who initially brought up this clip. Like, me and you were even talking about that a little bit earlier. Like, where in the fuck did this clip even come from?
Yeah,
like somebody
was probably trying to burn him. Yeah,
right. But somebody went ahead and found this clip from 4 years ago. It wasn't like he just said this last week or this week.
But we've elevated Mish to crime, to child pornography, to revenge.
Right.
Like, we've taken that leap now. And tomorrow it's going to be somebody else. So,
right.
Hold on to your hat.
But
And
that's what I'm saying is, I think
2016 was not that long ago. It was not that long ago.
Right.
It's only 4 years ago, dude. I mean, like is it really that long ago? Like
Yeah.
were wrestlers making rape jokes in 2016 and shoot interviews?
Right.
I mean, like,
and Antox brings up a good point. AEW wasn't even a fucking thing 4 years ago. Yeah, you're right. It wasn't. That's what I'm saying. Like, even the people that are involved in AEW now, I think that's what I meant, Antox. I'm sorry if I worded it incorrectly. I didn't mean anything by it. But, 4 years ago, even the people that are in AEW today probably didn't listen to random Sammy Guevara interviews on TWFS. And I'm not saying that that's an excuse or anything like that. I'm just saying that for the most part, you can't sit there and do the whole, am I my brother's keeper?
No, but I'm just saying you also can't tell me I'm a bad person, all the time, because I question the way you present your product. Anytime that product is questioned in a way that people are negative towards them, they immediately attack them and tell them that's because they're bad people.
Right.
You can't be the moral police and have this on your repertoire. Sorry. It's just not okay. Just like you can't tell me that you're some forward, left-leaning, progressive company when you're backed by a billionaire who's a right-wing donor to the president, who was like the most polarizing person on the planet, and two of your executives used to put birther tweets out about the only black president we've ever had, and their father still fucking was doing it. Which if any wrestler was doing it, you would blackball that wrestler and say they're not allowed to work for your company. So it's like, it's the mixed messages. It's the phoniness. That's my issue with it. It's not Sammy doing it as much as it's the company that's basically the moral authority in wrestling. Seems to have no moral authority, and they're still pretending like they do. They're still pretending like they actually have the moral authority with people. You know what I mean? And banning Linda Hogan from your product. Are you fucking serious?
Yeah, that's kind of a gag, though.
That's not, though. They didn't put that out as a gag. They meant that seriously.
No, I know that they didn't mean it. I know that Tony Khan absolutely meant it, but just the idea of banning Linda Hogan. First off, let's not even believe for a second that Linda Hogan would even attend an AEW event.
But this is what they do. Like, it's smoke and mirrors.
Oh yeah. Well,
it's complete smoke and mirrors. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, we're going to really push this product on you in this way, and if anybody says anything negative, well, we're just going to bring up what a terrible person they are. Right. You know what I mean? And people went. I got news here. People went after them because they were very slow to say anything about what was going on in the UK. They were very slow.
Well, there was a lot of people that were slow to that. I mean, there was a lot of journalists that even took an extra day before they even commented on anything.
Yeah, but they're not the ones out there, Mish, saying they're the moral authority on wrestling. They have the most inclusive, most progressive company.
I agree. They should have squashed this immediately as soon as it was, and not squashed it, but they should have at least recognized it immediately as it was happening. I totally agree with you.
And maybe stop trying to be the moral police.
Well, right.
When you have a lot of, you cannot tell me that my grass is very high when you never mow your own fucking lawn.
Right. Not a stricter stance on Sammy. I think Sammy got more than what was coming to him, but more of a stricter stance with, like, obviously, people that work with the company. I hope Marty Scurll doesn't end up in AEW one day. You know what I mean? I hope David Starr doesn't end up in AEW. I hope fucking Joey Ryan doesn't end up in AEW, even though he turned down
I don't
their
think they will now, but
that's what I'm saying. That's my point, is like, they need to come out with an ICW statement. They need to come out with a WWE statement. And I don't know if I've seen this, maybe somebody can correct me on this one, where they pretty much say that if you have priors, you're not allowed here.
Yeah. Or they need to take, you know what I'd really like to see? I'd like to see Impact, ROH, WWE, NWA, AEW all release a joint statement saying that we recognize that all of us have this collective problem. We're going to uniformly make a thing among the business, since we control the business for the most part, and not work with people that fall into this category across the board.
Yeah.
And what a message that, who's going to have a problem with that?
Right.
I mean, like, and have everybody sign off on it.
That's what you do. You have WWE statement, and then you give it to all the other companies to throw their logo on that exact same statement. You make a huge fucking ordeal out of it.
That's what I'd like. That's what I like to think.
That would be great.
And again, I think that's what I want to see.
Because you know what? That would show that the wrestling industry as a whole, not just as individual companies and corporations, but as a whole, really does care about this fucking scenario.
Well, that's what I'd like to see. I would like to see that, because it's just like moving a pedophile priest out of my town but putting him in your town.
Right.
Hey, that's great. He's not in my town, but he's just going to your town now.
On a lighter note, what'd you think of Raw tonight, John?
I barely got through it. I ended up putting it on Freaky Friday to watch with my kids.
Did you?
Birthday tomorrow. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed watching Lindsay Lohan in when she had an acting career more than I did. Raw's terrible program, dude.
There's some good points. Yeah, look, and I know me and you and Joe have talked about this almost ad nauseum, but I'm still very much on board with the whole Edge versus Orton feud. Yeah, Edge delivered a promo tonight that was visceral. It was just straight out fucking visceral. But it's
just dragging. But he also can't work for 5 months. So what the fuck is the point of that?
No,
he's hurt for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
It's like Metallica telling me we're going to have the greatest tour ever in 2021. Okay, it's got 6 more months left. What am I supposed to do for the rest of the 6 months? Just rewatch this over and over again because you'll get excited for 6 months.
But at the same time, aren't you a little bit refreshed? Because I know, all of us were getting, tired of the 50-minute long matches. Like, I think that's one of the things that we were all in agreement on, where the matches between these two were just way too long. WrestleMania Backlash.
Yeah, they'll do another hour match in February of 2021.
Well, see, I hope they don't. I hope they scale that back. Like, a 15-minute match between Orton and Edge could be really good. Like, that would be fine. I don't see anybody that would be angry about that. That's the only negative component that I think this entire feud has had, is that for some reason, they feel like the feud should go on for a very long time. Now, Orton coming out with Ric Flair today, I don't know if you saw that. I really thought that Orton was going to fucking punt Ric Flair when he came out there.
He can't do that.
I didn't think so either, but they were definitely alluding to that. I was like...
Yeah, which should have told you they weren't going to do it.
Yeah, and then Big Show came out with his fucking... His dented... Why is his head dented like a bad can of peas? What is happening to Big Show?
I don't know, man. The water level's rising in his head. I don't know.
And I was looking, I took a screenshot, and he looks literally only a couple inches taller than Orton, to the point where I'm like asking people.
Huge. Orton's a huge guy.
He's shorter than me, John. He's 6'5".
I thought he was bigger than that.
No, he's billed at 6'5". He's shorter than me, and Big Show is billed at 7 foot to 7'2".
Yeah, but his posture is terrible, Big Show.
I think that's what it is. Somebody else was saying that too, that it's got to be a shitty posture or something like that.
Orton has like perfect posture. He stands completely straight up.
Right.
Most people have, most people have bad posture. Like, you know what I mean? You can't really gauge their actual true size. But yeah, you're right. They look very comparable in size. I don't need to see Orton. I don't need to see Edge. I don't need to see Show. I don't need to see Flair. There's so many good young people that if you just did something, if you just gave them something, give them something.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like I like the Andrade tag team thing because the tag team is a joke.
That you know what, I like that because I hope that they do get the titles, because then we might get a little Daniel Bryan Kane incident, a little back and forth going.
Yeah, the tag team division is on par with the women's division in AEW.
You don't like ninjas? Motorcycle ninjas?
I like ninjas when the turtles were fighting. Like unless someone's in a turtle costumes eating pizza and saying cowabunga, I'm not really interested in ninjas. Or Sho Kazuki's making a comeback in the 21st century. I'm not interested. I just like ninjas. Really, we're going like this is so Bruce Pritchard. This shit.
I like the ninjas. I'm in such a small minority on this one. I like the ninjas because
wait till you turn on the ninjas.
I turned on them before. No, the whole thing was it, and this is the funny thing is with me and Joe, we switched sides. When the Street Profits and the Vikings were doing the back and forth and stuff, Joe loved it. And I'm like, dude, you're killing these guys. Like, it looks like shit. And then the ninjas came out. And then I'm like, oh, okay, I'm fucking all in. I want some WWE ninja gear. I want like one of those shitty katanas that probably cost them 20 cents.
Yeah.
Like, I'm all in on this. Like,
and the ninjas came out. That's such a perfect win. Like we're reviewing like the biggest episodic wrestling show that it's ever existed, and then like an hour in you go, and then the ninjas came out.
Then the Foot Clan came out. Yes.
Yeah, I just don't even know like how to react to that, man.
I don't know. It's cornball to the point now. I mean, they're doing the whole jumping together like an 80s retro thing. It feels like Big Trouble in Little China. It's had some references to that, which is a fantastic movie if you've never seen it.
It's a cult movie. Man.
It is absolutely a cult movie. You need to see it if you haven't. Big Trouble, Little China, but that's what it gives me. It gives me those vibes. So now I've gone from hating it because it was making people look like shit, in my opinion, to like, okay, they're just going to go full campy, full 100% campy. I'm okay with that. Yeah. But what else came out? We had Charlotte Flair and Asuka. Asuka retaining her title against Charlotte Flair, which was kind of funny too, because Asuka was celebrating like she just had an hour-long Iron Woman match. She's on the ropes and she's crying and she's like this is a little much even for you, Asuka.
Yeah, it's weird because they can't. They have to push Nia for whatever reason, and they can't not make Charlotte important. So it's like, what do you do? And then the girl with the belt was the least significant person on the show.
Yeah.
Which is I hate when the title holders are the least significant in a storyline.
Well, that's because they were switching storylines. Like they literally presented 2 women's title storylines for Asuka tonight. She dealt with the Charlotte stuff tonight, and then obviously later on in the night, Sasha Banks doing the swerve where everybody thought she was going to ask Bayley for a title shot and asks Asuka, and Asuka gets her ass beat by both of them. So
which they're gonna drag that through the mud. But one thing I will say is that mercifully, they seem like they're actually going to try and make this more competitive now with Asuka, give her good competitive matches. Mercifully, she's not going to be in a feud with Natty or something like that, which was like a fear of mine. Like,
what the fuck? What the hell's going? What was it? Natty, Liv, Lana. What's going on?
I don't know. They're burying Natty with Lana to just give them something to do. It's like, let's give people shit to do night.
So Lana is Natty's new wife or something? Like,
yeah, they're new BFFs. Like that. It's going to be a tag. Well, that's what I'm saying. They have to bury them in tag teams now. So so they'll be buried in a tag team, which eventually they'll give this belt back to the Iconics because Peyton's hot.
Ugh.
And it's just because she's super attractive, so they have to give the belts back to her. And then it looks like possible Riot Squad because nothing's working independently for any of these people, so they'll probably try to do that again. And that actually was working. Like they seem to be connecting.
Right.
People recognize that they were actually really into being together and doing that.
Yeah.
Raw is such a chore, man. Like if you're not on the Drew train, if you're not on the fucking,
that's another one that just really they opened up the show with that Drew and Dolph at Extreme Rules, and then that was like, that's it. See you later. See you guys next week.
Yeah, because it's not interesting to anybody. It's not really that interesting. It's just like, let's keep showing people Drew. Let's keep showing them, but let's and he's giving like these like wise ass Cena type promos that are not working.
He is in such a bad position though. Can we say that? Like, I mean, they're expecting this guy as a brand new champion to carry this company in probably the most horrible time in the company's history, with the COVID and stuff like that. Like at the end of the day, I feel bad for Drew. I'm not a huge Drew fan.
I don't like, I feel bad because what you've been saying this for a while is that what's happening to him is completely not fair and out of his control. All the more reason to not put the belt on him during this time. You could have used a placeholder.
Well, why didn't they just use Brock and have Brock go away for 6 months? Like nobody would have been surprised if Brock wasn't here right now. Who would be like, well, why isn't Brock defending his championship? We already got over that argument years ago.
Is it hunting season? I don't know. Is it hunting season? Because that seems to dictate when Brock works. Yeah. Like, does he have shit he wants to do? I would have just not done the Drew thing and waited until there was more of an audience for it.
Yeah.